Leadership and insurance, building a culture that wins. I think a lot of people, they don't realize you're not just leading agents, you're leading builders. A big thing that I like to point out to people, especially in a lot of these lower quality sales models, they try to fuel you with a lot of Kool-Aid and a lot of just distraction. Read this book and study this. And there was a lot of great things I got out of that. I probably read every John Maxwell book that has ever been written, and probably the ones that he hasn't written, I know what he's going to say. You've got your 5 levels of leadership. You've got, so many different leadership laws, things that are very relevant. But at the end of the day, what I've learned over all of the hundreds of salespeople that I have led and helped to make, more money than I could even imagine, including myself, I think it really boils down to a couple of things. I think truly people don't care about what you know or what you've done until they do know that you care about them. But I think secondly, people, they come up with this saying and they say, people don't leave, bad companies, they leave bad leaders. I agree with that to an extent, but I think some manipulative leader came up with that to just try to manipulate everybody to, just read 24/7 and do routines all day long. When you really look at it, people leave when they're not making money that you will put up. Look at Hollywood. Look at all these athletes. Look at, all these human beings that will put up with the worst kinds of treatment. But in exchange for what? The contract. Millions of dollars. What are they getting in? Like it's typically on the other side of people don't want to address the elephant in the room. You're not getting paid enough. And so as a leader, you have to constantly be asking yourself, when it comes to very, very high quality people, it is about the money. It's a business. And I always tell people this, it's like, if you try to drown your people culture, you will fool the people that are, again, herd mentality like people. These are younger people like myself when I got into sales, 18 years old. You'll fool the 18-year-old. But that 18-year-old is going to wake up one day and he's going to be 25 years old and realize that, you left millions of dollars on the table. You left out large percentages of commission, potential ownership, all in exchange for what? Culture, titles, trips, trophies. I tell you guys this all the time. You can wake up now and save yourself the rest of your life, or you can keep buying into, well, maybe this will turn into this, and maybe I'll look at the data, look at the logic, look at the proof, and understand that that is the biggest lesson when it comes to leadership. It's about the money. You're in business. If it was about culture and who has the best culture, I'd tell you, start a cult, start a church, and then it would just be about the culture. You know what I mean? I think culture is vital, but I think culture should be around transparency. The best businesses are very open about how their business operates, who's getting what, who has access to ownership, who has access to financial advantages, et cetera, whatever. It's the cash. Show me the money. And the highest quality people are going to be attracted to what's in it for them on a financial level. And anybody telling you anything else is making money off you. I always tell people, it's like, whatever's being hidden from you, you are a customer of, right? And we're going to get into that further. A boss tells people what to do. A leader builds something worth following. And you're only going to ever build something worth following by being honest. You know what I mean? I always go out of my way when it comes to leadership. It's for me, I've been in my own way. It's been my ego, it's been emotion, and I think my ego costs me about $100 million of annual production in the life insurance space a year because I was so bought into the lies that I was being fed of, culture and titles and trips and trophies and just wait 30 years and one day you can have a couple $1 million house and you can have a couple $1 million in renewals and if you just wait, don't ever, it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz, don't look behind the curtain. You not looking behind the curtain is costing you the life that you could have. Maybe you look behind the curtain and it's not something that you want to be a part of. You don't want to be an entrepreneur. You don't want to own your business. You don't want to take care of the leads. You don't want to have the liability. But at least and then you can start to figure out and negotiate, hey, look, now I see there's an extra 50% of capital that's flowing through this business I'm generating. I'd like to negotiate in regard to me getting some of that back. It's your money. It's like corruption when it comes to taxes. Like it should be fair. Hey, here's what we're using this for. Here's where like show me where it's all going. And I always tell people this: as a leader, you should never have an issue sharing with your people where the money's going. You know what I mean? Like if you bring enough value to your people with transparency, not with like culture meetings and listen, I love motivating, I love hyping people up, I love sharing the word of God. I love to share. Like for me, I'm not as data driven as I am, more emotionally and like spiritually driven. But when you look at the data, people they don't care about you making a couple bucks. Actually, when you bring people value, they want you to make money. It's the low quality, low level manipulative leader that thinks they can't know how much money I'm making. Like, oh, they want you to make money. I don't think you need to rub it in people's faces and be loud about it, but you need to be fair about it. You need to be fair. You need to be fair in regard to looking at your people. And if you're winning at a 10, 20, 100x multiple in correspondence to your people, especially your top people, there's probably an issue, right? And it's so funny because I see so many insurance people that work in a structure that is the opposite of what Patrick Bet-David preached in his book, what is it, Your Next 5 Moves. And I've had the pleasure of going to a couple of his events and transitioning from, the different structures where he had no ownership to where he had ownership and leaving behind millions of dollars of residuals and this business he built up to start his own business. And you'll see guys that were in the previous structure that he was involved in share his content and things like that. And some people, it's like, he's absolutely right when he says there's a lot of cash made, being that number 2 through number 6 guy. But the number 1 guy typically makes the most cash. Tom Brady made the most cash. If you want, you can make any sports reference, the founder, the CEO, that guy makes the most cash. Now, what he goes to say is, I think he more so means in regard to the quality of the dollar. You could be making, $1 million, but you've got $2 million of stress, of people you're responsible for. So like the quality of the dollar, it may not be worth it to everybody. It might sound good. And I think that's what he really means by that, because sometimes he makes it seem like I made more cash. I don't really believe you made more cash, or you wouldn't pursue to be the number 1 guy. You're just able to withstand the pain of the quality of that dollar that comes with being the number 1 guy. The number 1 guy makes the most money. The quarterback makes the most money. But can he withstand the loss, the failure, and all of that comes with that? So I always tell people be careful with that. But it's funny because, and the reason I share that is, again, it comes down to the money. High quality people, it's not even like the compensation isn't enough. There needs to be ownership. That's why it's like with the new firm that we're building, it's like, it's very important that people know that their business is their business. And there's no other way to, if you want to build with high quality people, their business needs to be their business. Low quality people, you can fool them on culture and low compensation. And I shouldn't even say low quality. Younger people, uneducated people that they don't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. It's not that I just got smarter. I just got exposed. And when you're around people and around cultures that indoctrinate you to stay away from exposure, and that exposure is bad, just listen to how some of these sales cultures, operate. And history and life and corruption, it all shares the same language. Those people are bad. They're horrible. You'll lose everything if you go with it. It all starts from a young age with manipulative, toxic relationships. When you tell your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you can't text any other girls. You can't see any other girls. You'll never find anything like me. You know what I mean? It's all the same language. It just gets dressed differently. It gets packaged differently. And then you end up losing a large percentage of your life because you're listening to bad leaders, low-level leaders. My name's Tristan Dlabik. I've been in the insurance space for going on 8 years, and I've done very well. I've helped people do very well. I really don't have anything to sell you when it comes to a course or consulting. But what I do have available is potential partnerships with high-quality people in the insurance space. You have to be licensed. You have to have results. I would love to find someone that's really good at annuities to do a partnership with. And in addition to that, obviously people looking for life insurance annuities can always reach out to me or any of my team as well. So